the world and places our extreme gratitude to Srini sir for joining us. Thank you so much, sir. Um, it's a great pleasure to have you in this wonderful event, and I warmly invite our speaker, Mr. M G Srinivas, to our event and to take the event forward and uh, guiding us and motivating us in the field of filmmaking with um, with all the required aspects. So, extremely with extreme happiness, I would like to invite Mr. M G Srinivas sir to our event. Uh, Sir, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Uh, Thank you very much
Evening, sir.
for giving me this opportunity to interact with you guys. Um, so, uh, uh, I want to have an interactive session with everyone so that when there is more interaction, there is more discussion. When we talk about cinema, it's all about interaction and discussion than only me talking about cinemas and how I make films, all those things. Let us keep it more interactive so that we'll so that it will be very interesting because for another hour and a half or so, whatever it is. So let us try to keep it more interactive, and I hope everyone is more proactive and they can. I hope everyone can interact with me. So anything about cinema or whenever or wherever you want to talk about cinema, or if you have any doubts when I'm talking, please interrupt me and ask me about it so that let us keep it more interesting. That's just my request for today. So wherever I go, I love to uh, interact with people so that sometimes I might learn a lot of ideas from them. Sometimes the other people might learn ideas from the discussion what we do. Well, basically, um, I am a director, actor from the Kannada film industry. So I have done currently 4 films. Apart my 4 feature films, I'm also directed 2 short films. The way how I got into film industry or how I started making films is by watching YouTube, YouTube videos. So generally, I was a dance choreographer. So that's how I started my career as. So I was a dance choreographer. I used to be a background dancer behind all the stars. So I was performing at a lot of shows for more than like 200 shows I've performed across India and with almost all actors of Kannada and Tamil and Telugu industry. So after that, uh, I became an RJ, radio jockey. I was an RJ for 5 years at Red FM Bangalore. So I was doing this prime time show called Blade Raja. So at that point of time, I used to learn lot about sound. So generally, sound is a very important element for cinema. So that's where I got to learn a lot about sound, the sound effects, what we call it, where we use polyphone, a lot of film. So if you have to make your radio audience glued to the promo or the program which is being telecasted, so sound is very important. You have to play around uh, only with the sound. So that's how I learned a lot about sound. So I was a radio jockey for 5 years. So after that, um, I initially wanted to become an actor. So I started giving photographs to all the directors for their uh, in the kind of film industry. So that to give me an opportunity. So one day I just realized that uh, how can a director judge by looking at the photograph of an actor? Because generally performance is what is required. So how will you judge my performance by just looking at my photograph is what I thought. And that's how I started making short films. That's when I did one short film called Rules. It was a satirical comedy short film, which was actually screened at Australian Film Festival, Bollywood and beyond. And then later, um I joined an acting school called Abhinaya Taranga. So there we used to practice a play called Typical RC, written by a playwright called the Mr. Gauri Dattu. So we adapted the play and made into a short film. It was about the playwright T.P. Kalasam, the famous playwright. He was a famous playwright, T.P. Kalasam. So we made a short film called Simply Kailos. So that was a 45 minute short film. It's there on YouTube. So that was selected at the Houston Film Festival and it won a Platinum Emmy Award. So after that, and it was widely spoken for its technicalities. Maybe like 12 years, we used a lot of visual effects into the film, and I never knew how to work around with visual effects. But the way how we learned, me, my cinematographer, my editor, we all made debut through those films, even though they were working for commercial films, but it was their debut as independent cinematographers or editors. So what we did was we sat on Google, we did research on using of green screen and how we have to use visual effects in different sequences, how we had designed. So that's how we learned, and we made a short film which received a lot of appreciation. So one day I had given that DVD. That time we used to have DVD to Mr. Upendra to watch the film and give me a chance for acting in his next directorial film or something like that, or any other film which he's acting to give me a small role or something. So after watching the film, one fine day at maybe like midnight, 12 o'clock, called me. So I thought by just like by miss, he might have called me. I missed the number would have dialed, and that's how my phone is ringing because it was at midnight, 12 o'clock, and I didn't expect a superstar to call me. I ignored the call, but I got the call again. So after that, then I thought, okay, I think he's calling me really. So then I picked up the call and asked him. So he was very happy after watching the film. It's really good, fantastic, technically very strong. So what are your plans? So come down tomorrow to my house. So we'll have a talk. So the next day when I went to his house, uh, he told, "What's your plan?" Next day, I told I want to become an actor, so that's why I gave you DBT. So uh, it will be really great if you can give an opportunity to act in your film. He told, "Okay, fine, but you're a very good director too. So why don't you make a film?" I told, "I don't have any previous experience. Uh, I have not assisted anyone, nor I have done any course or something. So how can I become a director?" He told, "You have done a fantastic short film. So you've already directed film. You already become a director. There is no need to assist someone or get into a course or something. So why don't you become a director? Direct a film. You're already a director." So that's how I made my uh, debut directing him with Topiwala. It was a political satire film. So Mr. Upendra wrote the story and the screenplay, and I wrote the dialogues for the film. I directed Topiwala. After that, Topiwala was a commercial success. So after that, again, I had this thought, okay, I have come into film industry to act. So what am I doing? Uh, so I have to act in film. So that's when I thought about it, and okay, I told, okay, let me direct a film where I can act in my film. So that's when we wrote a script called Srinivasa Kalyana. Yes, it's again kept after my name. And the story was based on six sins: Kama, Krodha, Loba, Moha, Mada, Matsara. If you leave all these things, how will you attain moksha? Uh, and tell it in a very commercial way with all love stories at different ages. So that's how we planned. One story for Kama, that one for Krodha, one for Moha and one for Kama. So how will you attain moksha and what is exactly moksha? So we made it a commercial entertainer. So Srinivasa Kalyana was also very successful film. Uh, After Srinivasa Kalyana, a lot of directors approached me and asked me to do more love stories. But for me, I wanted to um, experiment different genres. I didn't want to stick on or get branded as just okay, this guy can only act in love stories, or he can be a romantic hero. So I wanted to experiment different genres. So that's when we did Beatbull. So we thought, okay, we will do a trilogy in three parts. So Birbal got released and it also received a lot of good appreciations across India. And it was again remade into Telugu as Timarasu, and hopefully, maybe by next year, it will be remade into Hindi. So after Birbal, so before starting, thank you everyone. I can read your messages. Uh, so after Birbal, um, we thought, okay, let us do again break the genre, and before doing Birbal 2, let us do something else. Let us do a family entertainer. So that's how we did Old Monk. Old Monk was my previous film, which got released in February, and again, it did receive a lot of good appreciations, and it's a commercial film. And it's actually getting released on Amazon Prime on 5th of April. So if you guys, I hope, I think most of you haven't watched film or got an opportunity to watch film. So on 5th April, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. So this is my journey. So I have like four more films which we are planning to do in the future. So before ending my whatever, it's just how I how I got to learn about films. I was just telling because it's not about what I've done. It's just about if you have the hunger. I just wanted to say with this. I wanted to say that if you have the hunger to learn something or do something, you don't need to assist someone or no need to go and attend some big courses. You will learn it anyhow and do it and achieve whatever you want. But you need to have that hunger so that if you want to do something, so that you will definitely do it. Is what I want to say. And most of them, I have seen a lot of people do that, even though they don't have the facilities to learn or facility to assist someone. They have come out of that box, and I think they have started doing it. Somehow they have got it and made it big. I've seen a lot of actors, directors do it. So uh, I think uh, you all want to become filmmakers. So hopefully, I think you guys will achieve it one day too. So I know this is a very silent group. So let us have some interaction before I start talking about filmmaking. A general brief introduction about filmmaking, and I can't teach how to make a film in maybe like less than 1.5 hours, but definitely we'll talk about the basics of writing and how to execute it and what I have learned from my experience. I will not teach what is there online, or I'll not tell. Maybe I'll not tell what is taught in filmmaking school. I will tell you most. I will talk about the practical experience, how to do it, and how to execute and make a film, and how to develop it. And maybe I will talk about a lot of writing, and from writing to, of course, release and distribution. A lot of things are involved in this topic called filmmaking, and including marketing of the film. So we will talk about it. So if you have any questions, any queries, you can definitely ask me. So that we keep it more interactive.
Hi, sir. First of all, thank you so much for this great talk where you explained your experience and how you have you took up each and every phase in your life, how you followed your passion and achieved your dreams. And it was truly so inspiring, the whole story. And also you have given a great message that uh, that if we have that hunger to achieve our dreams, then I think things get easily possible. So that's really a great message, sir. So thank you
Thank
so
you very much.
much. Thank
Thank
you
you very
so
much,
much for
Ms.
that.
Arundhati. Thank you very much. So, if there are anything you guys want to talk about, you can definitely talk about it because I would love to interact with you guys before starting something. I would love to know about what you guys do and what you are up to and why you have joined this Zoom call. So, what you exactly want to learn about film?
So actually, first of all, thank you for coming to Trivedi Kottayam. And I want to ask that in your whole journey, where you face the difficulties and what you learned from that.
Thank you, Anirudh. No, if you guys want to know exactly, maybe see, few people will have a lot of doubts about film and maybe filmmaking, and I hope all of you want to learn filmmaking. That's why you have joined this group, or is it just out of curiosity or passion? Okay, okay, let me see what is there in filmmaking. Is it is it the reason that you have joined this group?
So mostly, I think it's out of curiosity.
Out
Some
of
of them would be
curiosity?
there who have interest, but yeah, a lot of us want to know what happens behind the scenes.
Behind this game. Well. Okay, guys, I can you can open up and you can interact. Come on. Uh, uh, the more you interact, I have uh, proper vision and how to. I will get to know what exactly I want to talk about because or else I'll be randomly talking about for another 1.5 hours. Okay, Mr. Kunal has what difficulties you face in the field of direction. I think direction is most uh, the direction department is the most difficult department in the entire film crew because you have to start writing a story, then you have to complete the story, write your dialogue. If there is a budget, okay. If there is no budget, you have to write your own dialogue. Find a producer. Of course, that's the most difficult stage. Then after finding a producer, again you have to convince the actors. Then you have to go shoot, edit, do sit in the music process, be in the entire process, make sure your budget doesn't over exceed, and after doing all these things, again the release, the marketing, even after doing all those things, the direction department is the only department which will be there from the first to the last. And even after doing all these things, you might not get your money, or like maybe you might not be paid also. So yeah, especially for the newcomers, of course, for the interns who join. So that is the biggest problem of the direction department. So I like maybe luckily I never assisted anyone. As I told, I directly became a director, so I never went through that phase, but I do see a lot of people, young people who work as assistant directors. They travel from a lot of cities, from maybe from the rural districts of Karnataka, or maybe I've seen people coming from Andhra Pradesh also, looking for a job in film industry who are ready to assist any director, and they do all kinds of jobs from bringing the tea. Apart from learning what filmmaking is, they're they're actually put into a lot of other jobs also. But yeah, of course, maybe they have to go through a lot of suffering. But what I say is, if you really want to get into filmmaking, I think every actor or the director would have gone through his own difficult phase. I think without that, I think it's a process. Maybe it's a process of learning. At every stage, in every film, you will be learning something or the other, and that's how the journey is. It doesn't come to you very easily because what comes easy will never stay forever. So, so you have to go through that phase. Uh, and I have seen a lot of actors going through that phase and achieving and course, even I also have gone through that phase. Even after becoming a director, maybe for my first film, I also didn't receive good sum of money, so I had to manage because I for me I had a job in my hand. I was a radio jockey, so I had to leave that job and come back, come and make a film for without any money. So I had to manage that, and I had to manage my home or family. That's what we all do it for. So later, again, I had my own struggles of making a film because when I made Srinivas Kalyan, I was a newcomer. So no one knew no one knew who, okay, this guy, okay, he has directed a film, but no one knew me as an actor. So I had to start from zero. So when I was making Srinivas Kalyana, we had very small budget. So since I was a newcomer, I had to make a film in 50 lakhs. The budget, the 50 lakhs, this budget was budget for a song in my previous film. So when I did for a superstar, 50 lakhs was budget for a song. So now I have a budget of the song to make the entire film in 50 lakhs. So we had to uh, plan a lot to complete this film in 50 lakhs. So we made our own lights, we made our own equipments, and I had a lot of uh, I had a lot of ADs who actually helped me a lot while making the film. And we had to cheat a lot of locations. We had to go and ask for free locations. We had to talk to a lot of actors to do it for less money. So we had to plan each and everything and how, maybe you need a lot of planning when you're making a small budget film. Um, Hi, sorry. Um, yeah, you need a lot of planning while making a small budget film. When you have a big budget, you will get what you need, maybe in terms of equipment or the actors or everything. But when you're making a small budget film, maybe when you're shooting on your iPhone or a phone or a small 5D camera, but you need a lot of planning. So that is what is required, and that is what we did, and that's how the film made. That the film was a commercial success. That's how we got back our money. So in case if we had done, maybe if we had exceeded that budget, or if we had done like a normal proper commercial film, we wouldn't have made that money, or we wouldn't have got our money back. So it's again a process, and of course the difficulties are there when you start up. I think difficulties are there in every industry. When you start a new company, I think the difficulties are there. When you actually start a startup, also there are difficulties. I think everywhere in every occupation, difficulties are there. I guess. So it's all about how strong you can hold back, and I think it's your passion which will keep you there, and which will help you which will fuel your energy to achieve what you want.
Hello, sir.
I think you guys can, in case if you want me to answer any particular question, I can answer, or else I think a lot of people are there.
Hello, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Hi.
Hi, sir. Have you written the stories for your film, sir, or you have taken it from any others?
I have written for my films too, and I have also adapted from others too, and I have worked with a lot of groups or a lot of writers when I'm writing a story. For When I did my first film, feature film, it was Mr. Upendra who gave the story. So after that, I just wrote the dialogue for the film. When I made Srinivas Kalyan, it was me who wrote the entire story. So, Birbal was again an adapted screenplay from the real incident. After Birbal, for Old Monk, I had around four writers who could help me writing the story. Currently, I'm working on a script. it's a story written by Telugu writer. So which I have taken the rights and we are doing and we are rewriting the screenplay. And I do write my scripts and I also if there is a ready-made script, I do take it and if it's very interesting, of course, we do take it and rewrite it however we want and execute it. It's not like okay, all directors need to write. It's not like all writers can become directors too. It can be both ways or neither.
Sir,
Hello.
sir, have you read any books to for the help of screenplay, sir?
Yeah, yeah. For you guys to improve your screenplay, I think you have to read a lot of books. I also read a lot of books. I didn't have that habit of. Hello?
ఏం చేస్తాడు చెప్పు అన్న అడుగు ఏం అవుతుంది ఆకలి అవుతుందా నాకు కూడా
Kashyap, can you mute?
Okay. Yeah. To understand or to improve your skills in screenwriting, maybe you have to read a lot of books. I never had this habit of reading books. But in the later stages, when I was working with Mr. Upendra, he was the one who forced me to read books, and he gave me small books which he had. Uh, Maybe he had collected so many books at his younger age, maybe when he entered into film industry. So there were all these 80s and 80s series books. So there were these short stories, detective stories in Kannada. So I started reading those short stories. So that helped me read a lot of books. I keep reading now. After that, I started reading a lot of books, and I still keep reading books. I think reading books is one very important thing for filmmakers, where you also update yourself. Um, in terms of screenplay, dialogues, or what else is happening, and the kind of genres which you may want to make. Maybe like a lot of filmmakers want to make like different genre films. Few are very much maybe skilled in doing action or thrillers or rom-coms, and few might do all kind of genres. So it will help you in writing the screenplay, the different types of screenplay, and the characterization of every character. Still remember when Mr. Rajnikant did this role of in the film called Chandramukhi. He did that king's role where where he used to say laka 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 laka. That character is there. That's actually the character is taken from a book. There is a book written by Mr. Tarasu about about Dadavai Mudanda. So the characterization of him coming with a lot of dogs and it was a villainous character. So those characteristics was actually maybe taken from that book. Maybe the director read about the characterization or he wanted to implement. So these are small things where you might get ideas while reading book. Even the famous dialogue in Bhashan, Nur Madri. That's actually a dialogue, English dialogue in a rom-com book, romantic. I don't remember the book's name, but I do remember the dialogue. But that's actually in love story which it comes. So there are you might get a lot of ideas on how to write the dialogues or how to write the screenplay while reading the book. And the amount of research what they put into books. You hardly find in films. When you start reading a lot of books, I think you'll get to know the amount of research which is put into the book, and you might want to put so much of research while making a film. And someone asked me about Birbal 2. Yeah, we are planning for Birbal 2. We're just waiting for the Hindi version to start. So after the Hindi version starts, we'll be shooting Birbal and Timur simultaneously. Okay. someone, can you tell me little bit about the role of technology in your work? See, the role of technology depends on, especially depends on the script. See, maybe in the 80s, 80s and 90s, they didn't have these images, they didn't have drones, they didn't have motion control cameras. Yet the storytelling was very interesting. Now we have everything, but at the storytelling, I completely feel the opposite way. At the storytelling is not so gripping. It's only because of the actors, the trained actors, and the kind of screen presence they had and the kind of scripts they had. It was very intriguing because the story was intriguing and the actors had extraordinary screen presence because we have seen Dr. Rajkumar's films, we have seen Shankar Raj's films, and of course Amitabh Bachchan's films, and a lot of other actors, NTR or India's films, and a lot of other films. So the kind of screen presence they had was, I think, extraordinary. And today we have a lot of equipment. In terms of technology, we have improved. Uh, uh, we have numerous kinds of drones. We have numerous kinds of cameras for high-speed cameras, slow motion camera, and different types of cameras too. We are actually focusing more on the technology rather than the story, is what I feel. And when you start focusing on the story as well as implement the same with the technology, I think then I think you'll have a wonderful film on your hand. When you see like films like Three Idiots, uh, you might find such things. You have a fantastic story as well as technology which they have implemented in the entire film. I still remember the climax of Three Idiots, like the pre-climax of Three Idiots, where there is a shot. It will shift from night to day when Amir Khan is walking out of the hospital. So that, I think that was technically very challenging for them to achieve. So there are a lot of films like these where they involve technology into the script. And I also in Birbal, when we were doing, we wanted a motion control camera to execute a time-free sequence, but we didn't have the budget to get the motion control camera. So what we did was the reverse. We made all actors stand still and we shot it with the normal camera and added all the other elements in the VFX. So there are other ways to do achieve these things. When you have budget, also you can achieve. When you don't have budget, also you can achieve. And I am a very big fan of Matrix, because technically it was one brilliant movie in the 90s. So yeah, maybe after a very long time, they use the same technology in voice for a song. Hello?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir,
Uh,
from which point does your stories get started, sir? For me as a writer, my stories get started when I watch a film. I will take a small point from it to the in which I add extension. What if this happens? I will take like that, sir. How does your stories start, sir?
Yes, I think it's the same way with everyone. It can start anywhere. Maybe when you're watching a film and you're reading a book or walking on the road, or maybe when you're talking to someone, it can happen anywhere. For example, I will give you a small example how Basha got made, because I had a small interaction with Mr. Suresh Krishna, the director of Basha Film, when we were making a film, when I was making my debut. So he was in Bangalore when I was talking to him. So he had told me how Basha got actually started. It actually started from a deleted scene from Hum. I think you have heard of Hum, the Hindi film where Amitabh Bachchan, Rajnikant, everyone acted together. So a deleted scene from Hum was taken, and that was the starting point for Basha. The deleted scene was the scene where Rajnikant enters and where his sister is not given a medical seat, and he goes and reveals himself and tells Empire Manik and Sinner that kind of sequence where it is there. That was deleted scene from Hum. So they got that scene and built the story around it. And I think, hopefully, I remember Mr. Suresh sir telling that it was Rajni sir who gave the name for the film, Basha. So that's how Basha was made. I think there are a lot of films which are made like that. Yeah, in maybe even I may Srinivasa Kalyana like that because of a lot of incidents which had happened in my life. Maybe it was just having a conversation with my friends about the sequences with maybe a few scenes which were happened in my college days. We were just laughing about it, and one of my friends told, "Why don't you make this a film?" So that's when I actually seriously thought, okay, okay, yeah, we can make it into a film. Then we started developing and making a story out of it and giving a philosophical touch as well as the commercial touch for the film too.
Sir, what is the role of DOP in the film, sir? What's the work he should do?
DOP, DOP plays a very important role. It's just not technically or making making the frame beautiful or making it very rich, with filling with a lot of light. Uh, the role of DOP is to understand the story and how he can make the storytelling better. Generally, what happens is uh, today, what I'm talking before the DOP used to listen to the story, and we didn't have monitor in those days. He has to just look into the viewfinder and tell, okay, there was focus or there's no focus, and the DOP's call was the final call. He had a major hold in filmmaking. Nowadays, we have the monitor so that we have the opportunity to look and say, okay, whether the scene was good or not, whether the actors have performed well or not. But before they didn't have that technology because we didn't have monitors. Yeah, and we had reels, and uh, we had to finish in minimum duration. Maybe the films were shot in 30 days, 25 days, like this. And today we are shooting like maybe like 80 days, 100 days, uh, and we have monitors. We have the opportunity to gauge whether the scene was good or not. In those days, the DOP had a major call in filmmaking because he used to tell, okay, this shot has to be shot in this range. Only then the emotions can be uh, seen or felt or told in a better way. Today, maybe the directors tell the DOP, okay, most of the DOPs, not all the DOPs. Still, there are good DOPs who will actually tell the directors, okay, we will shoot the sequence in this lens or the wide lens or the mid lens or the close up. But most of the time, maybe in today's um modern life or modern age of filmmaking, the directors do tell, okay, they would have written the script and they will tell, okay, this is the shot I want, and this is the close-up shot, or this is the mid shot, or this is the wide shot, or they might tell, okay, we will shoot the entire scene in one single take, maybe in the wide lens. So, and the DOP might agree as well. Uh, Before it was not like that. I have met like very good DOPs who will sit and guide you in filmmaking because the director will have a vision and the DOP should add on to it and he should make that vision better. So to make that vision better, you need to have a DOP who can understand the story and give you the inputs so that you can make your story better is what I personally feel. And luckily, we do have such good DOPs. But what directors should keep that in mind is whether your DOP is able to understand the story, what you're telling, and whether he can execute and make a story better is what I think the director should understand before hiring a DOP.
Sir, what precautions you take to not get rejected when you meet a producer, sir?
I don't think about so many things because I don't take any precautions. See, it's just be yourself. Maybe you might get rejected also. You might not get rejected also. That's not in your hand because we don't know what the producer wants. We want to make our film. We want to make a good film. For all directors, they want to make a good film. We don't know how the producer takes it because what happens is my imagination is different. The producer imagination is different. When I write a story, maybe my Yeah. So my vision will be completely different, and producer vision will be completely different. So when I say there was a king 50 years ago in a town called ABCD. He might imagine a small village, or he might imagine a big village, or it also again it depends on how the director narrates, of course. But uh, again, the vision is completely different. When maybe the vision sinks, I think it will generally work. If the vision doesn't sink, you might not even understand what you're trying to say. So there are no precautions. I think you should do your best, and I should try to narrate the story well, maybe in detail when you're narrating the story to the producer, so that he will understand all the detailing, what you have thought in your mind or what you have written on the paper. Only then I think he will be able to understand your vision much better.
Hello.
Hi, hi, Asha.
Sir, thank you, sir, for coming to college. I have a question. What do you think is more important, a story or a screenplay of a movie?
No, I think both are very important because
I mean,
without
like the way public wants to understand like the screenplay,
uh-huh,
audience
pardon
would
me?
keep something in mind to go to a movie, right? Like a
Uh-huh.
story or a particular scene or something. What do you think the most important of anything?
See, there are two things. Maybe sometimes see there are two things when you keep when you keep in mind. I generally keep in mind while writing story. One important thing is, okay. The story is the basic line which you have made in the initial. It'll be just a small, very single line. Okay. Uh, in all, see, if you observe love stories, I think love stories are same from past what 1,000 years or more than that, because a boy falls in love with a girl and there's a problem between them, and they get separated. Whether they get married or not is the the climax part of the entire film. I think the screenplay is different in all the films, but this is the story uh, in most of the films. Boy loves girls, and there is a conflict between them. They get separated, and how they both come together is the climax in most of the films. Or whether they come together or not is the climax of the film. But the screenplay is how you present each and every scene. So how you write the characters, and I think you must have seen a lot of love stories. The screenplay is what is the boy's character, what is the girl's character. So how they meet is again presented in a different way, and what is the conflict is again presented in a different way. You bring in new problems, uh, and you bring in new solutions, new ways of proposing, new ways of falling in love. Maybe that those things, those detailing comes in screenplay. So how you present a film very fresh to the audience. And also, there are two ways, two things. One is when you write thrillers, you have to be precise.
ये 3 लोग पूरे एकदम एग्जैक्ट नाम है चलो मैं आया 5 मिनट
Guys, kindly mute yourselves when sir is speaking.
So when you write thrillers and love stories, there are two things. So one when you're writing a thriller, or even of course a love story, audience might you have to be one step ahead the audience, so that if the audience can guess what's the next scene in the thriller, then I think he'll say, okay, this comes, and there'll be no surprise element for the audience. So you need to make sure there are a lot of surprise elements every now and then, so that the audience is glued to the seat. Uh, in love stories, it's the other way. The audience has to relate his story to the hero or to the story. Maybe when you're watching premium kind of films, Bangalore Days, premium, these kind of films, you relate yourself to a lot of sequences where you had spent in school days or college days, and that's how you relate the entire film. That's how you relate to the character. So there are two ways of telling a story. One, either make sure the audience relates his story to your film, or make sure there are a lot of surprise elements in the film, so that the audience, it's tougher for the audience to guess what's the next sequence, or the climax, or the interval, or who the killer is when you're writing a thriller or a crime story.
So we have a question in the chat. It's what do you think that drives audience more to theaters, story or screenplay writing? Could you please?
Currently, it's the actors. Currently, it's the actors. What is driving more to the theaters? Then comes the story. Then comes the screenplay. Because what happens is when all newcomers uh, make a film, it takes time for audience to come into theaters. Okay, go back and tell more number of people that this film is a good film. uh, and in the meantime, when and more audience will come and watch the film. But nowadays what's happening is, this was happening maybe like 10 years back. This was working because there were very less number of films which were releasing every week, and now you have like 10 films per week. In Bangalore, at least, I have 10, 15 films releasing every week from all languages. And we watch all language films. We watch Malayalam films, we watch Marathi films, we watch Telugu films, we watch Tamil films, we watch all kinds of films. So it's a very big competition here, unlike Chennai or Hyderabad, um, uh, because we are used to watching all kinds of films. And maybe like 10 years back or 15 years back, when films like Mungaru Male or Dunya, all those films got released, it took a lot of time for it to become a blockbuster, because at that point of time we didn't have so many films, so many big films releasing together. And if you how it works is, when the film releases, only maybe like you'll get 30% opening. Only 30% of the population will watch the film, and that 30% will go out and tell, okay, this film is good. And the word of mouth plays a very important role. And after it plays a very important role, that the other audience will come and watch the film, and that's how it uh, goes on to become a blockbuster. But today we have only 2 weeks of time. We don't have more time for that word of mouth to spread across and people to come in and watch the film. It has to happen faster. If it doesn't have happen faster, your film will be taken out because they have other films, and more number of films are releasing every week. So I think that plays a crucial, word of mouth plays a crucial role in newcomers film. And apart from that, I think if someone goes first day first show to watch a film, it's just because of stars, and stardom plays a very important role.
So,
Just give me a second.
yeah, sure. Sir.
Yeah, please carry on.
Okay, so,
I think we have a lot of messages.
so we have another question. What is future of pan-Indian films as regional films are turning into pan-Indian?
Future of pan Indian films, I think there'll be more pan Indian films because um, um, the market is getting bigger. I think you're and for pan Indian films, if it's an action film, I think it will work a lot because uh, dialogue oriented films are different for different regions. So what the dialogue which is good in Kannada might not sound good in Malayalam, or the dialogue which is good in Malayalam might not sound good in Kannada. So there you see hardly few remakes, love stories which are remade into other languages. and you see more action films which were remade into other languages, even in the past. So that's why you see like Triple R or KGF are being made into a pan Indian film because it has a lot of action, and action doesn't need lot of dialogues or any other barriers for people to understand. They can just watch it and understand without any dialogues also. So I think the future of pan Indian films will increase. I think there will be more number of pan Indian films which will be coming, and of course, it has to have that universal storyline where people from all regions can understand. And I think the more number of action films will work. For example, Kaidi is getting remade into Hindi again. We had Gajni got remade into Hindi. We had so many South Indian films that got remade into Hindi. We saw Ayappan Koshiyam got remade into Telugu, or again it's getting remade into Hindi. And you hardly see very less number of love stories which are getting remade into Hindi. Maybe very few films. When you make a pan Indian film, of course, the star cast plays a very important role. Even for like KGF Part Two is coming on April 14th. For Part One, they didn't have uh, star cast from other industries. For Part Two, they have Ravina Tandon, they have Sanjay Dutt, so they have actors from Telugu, they have actors from Tamil, so that people from other states also have that connect while watching the film. So that's how they might plan. Even for Triple R, they had Ajay Devgan, they had Alia Bhatt. So um, that's how they might start doing. And even in OTT platform, when you're watching Family Man, you have Samantha playing a role in Family Man along with Manoj Bajpayee. So they will involve actors across the country when you make a pan Indian films, and I think the business is bigger, so they will start making more pan.
So when you were starting out, did you have any mentor who was guiding you, or was it all on your own, or any inspiration you had?
I didn't have anyone like a real mentor. Uh, it was all because the major drive was I wanted to become an actor, so I had to learn directing. So I wanted to make a film for myself. That was the major drive which I had initially. So I used to watch a lot of films, and I started learning, watching a lot of filmmaking videos on YouTube. That's how I started learning about films. And after that, maybe a small guidance. Of course, Mr. Upendra has helped me a lot by guiding how exactly. That was a very big advantage for me because I had the old school type of teaching also. I started learning new school teaching also, and now I can implement where we have to do the old school way, or where we have to do the new school way. So that was a very big advantage. And of course, radio played a very important role in my life because I got to learn about sound, because sound plays a very important role in film. For In terms of background music or in terms of sound effects, I think that plays a major role. Uh, of course, in terms of guidance, I think Upendra sir played a major role in guiding me what I had to do, what I should not do uh, in terms of screenplay or in terms of shooting a film.
Okay, sir. So we have our next question. Out of all the locations where you have done shooting, which location is your favorite till now and why?
Hmm, that's a very difficult question to answer because generally we go out for shooting when I have done a lot of shooting in Bangalore only. I haven't traveled a lot to other states. Maybe I've traveled to for shooting, of course. Uh, Maybe for my first film, I traveled outside India. I think that will still remain my favorite location because it was Switzerland. So after that, most of my films were shot in Bangalore because we were trying to do a lot of low budget films, so we didn't have the budget to travel across the country and shoot it there. Since we were doing all low budget films, maybe all my films were shot in Bangalore. I think Bangalore still is my favorite location for as of now. Okay, maybe I think, sir, what do you think director should do in a movie through his viewpoint or many available viewpoints, excluding his, or only show the facts and leave it up to the audience? Uh, okay, this was asked. So, what do you think director should do in a movie? Show his viewpoint or the available viewpoints, including or excluding his, or only show the facts and leave it up to the audience to have their own viewpoint? Again, it depends on what kind of story you want to tell. It depends on the director. Okay, what he wants to convey in that film. Okay, if he wants to tell different point of view, create a Rashomon effect. It again depends on the director, or leave it to the audience. Give a open-ended film so that audience will start thinking. Again, it depends completely on the director, how he wants, what exactly what he wants to convey in his film. So it again, end of the day, the director is the person who will take a call on it. And the next question, I think, sir, how difficult is a movie to make when you want to do it with a new star cast? Any suggestions, please, on what all focus? Yeah, I think it's really difficult. Not joking, it's really difficult when you start with newcomers because uh, no one will know who the star cast is, and I think the first day no one will come to watch the film because they just because they don't know you. Even though your songs are hit, even though the trailer hit is a very big hit, they will not come on the first day. Maybe they will come on the second day after a few people watch and after reading the reviews. I think even you guys do that. When you go for a film, you first watch the review, you'll ask your friend whether the film is good or not. Only when your friend who has watched has come back and told you, okay, this film is fit for watching in the theater, I think you guys go. It's very. Have you guys gone for a film for a new Starcast film on a first day first show or on the first day? Any of you guys? Even this one, no problem. Oh yes, so I think that's a great thing. Because here in Karnataka, generally what happens is only after people coming and telling it's a good film, people come out of their house and go to theaters. But apart from that, for newcomers films, it's generally the second day or the third day which gets good number of audience. On the first day, very less number of audience who come to theaters. It is difficult, so make sure you don't exceed your budget. You need to plan your budget when you're doing for new when you're planning a new planning for newcomers. The lesser the budget, the better the revenue generation, because end of the day the producers will just look at the numbers. They will not, even if the reviews, if they give you 5 stars, the producer will not care about 5 stars or 4 stars, 4.5 stars. He'll just look at the numbers whether he has got the money back or not. Even the distributors and the whole industry runs on this, the number game. So they're all worried about the numbers. The only thing which matters to them is the numbers. How much they had invested, how much they got back is what they want. So um, uh, if the money which is invested has been got back, then it's a commercially successful film. If it has not got back and if it has got good appreciation, then it's a critically acclaimed film and not a commercially successful film. But most of them, well, most of the producers will go behind the director or the actor who has given commercial success than was given critically acclaimed. That's how the industry works everywhere. Because end of the day, it's business for everyone.
Okay, sir. So next, sir, who's your favorite director,
Favorite
English or
director,
Hindi?
um, uh, for me, favorite director is Christopher Nolan and Guy Ritchie, and of course here I follow Rajkumar Hirani sir because what Rajkumar Hirani sir gives is a universal film where people from all states, from all regions, are able to understand, and most of his films are falls under that category, universal category, where people from all regions watch and enjoy. So I am a huge follower of Rajkumar Hirani sir.
the next question is, what is the role of digital marketing?
Digital marketing plays a huge role because nowadays it's very easy to make a film. It's very difficult to market a film. So you need more money to market a film than to make a film. Maybe you need what? It's very less what I'm telling. Maybe you need more than 50 to 60 lakhs to just to market the film. Even though if you complete a film in 25 30 lakhs, it's fine, but you need to have 50 to 60 lakhs to market the film. The more the money, the better the reach of the film will be. So it's really important. Even if you could see like when Triple R got released, even though they had big stars, big directors, and even if it had that much of hype, the actors, the directors traveled across India to just to market the film. They travel to Bangalore, I think they travel to Kerala, also they travel to Chennai, they travel to Jaipur, they travel to New Delhi just to market the film because they knew the importance of marketing. They knew the importance to reach out to the audience in all the states. Even KGF Starcast have already started marketing the film by visiting and doing press releases in different states. So that's a very important uh, 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 part. I think first you need to plan the marketing, then you need to start the film. Nowadays, because marketing plays a very important role, especially digital marketing, because everyone has mobile phones these days, and everyone keeps visiting number of apps. So it's very important to make sure the film reaches to that person, to the target audience, whichever you are getting to.
So, what made you to act in films that are directed by you? That's the next question.
Initially, when I started my journey into film, I wanted to become an actor. So that's why I started directing films. Now, when I write, maybe it's not like that I won't direct to any other actor. If the script demands, I will definitely direct to other actors too. But um, when I write a story, if I feel okay, I fit into that role, only then I will act into that film. Um, but generally, when I initially started direction, that was the reason. Okay, let me direct my film. Okay, that's how I will get into the film industry. Because I think most of them know the struggle of an actor getting into the films because you need to go to give a number of auditions, and I don't know the number of it's very less number of percentage for an actor to get selected into a film. So if you need to keep repeating that cycle, and maybe in one film it will get succeeded, and only then you will get into the film and get a good role. It's not about getting the opportunity to act in a film. You need to get a good role, and that role has to get recognized, and only then you will start getting more number of chances. So that's a process. So that's a process. You need to travel into that process. So initially, when I started, I generally started because okay, I want to become an actor. Okay, let me direct my film and become an actor. And that's when maybe after watching my films, directors came to me to narrate stories. I also acted for other directors as well. Um, my previous film was Ranganayaki, where it was actually selected for Indian Panorama, where I acted in a film from another director. Currently, I'm actually acting in a film called On Air. It's a solo performance film wherein it's a single character film. It's a thriller wherein the whole story takes place in a radio station. So I completed the shooting last week and in Hyderabad. So it's shot in two languages, Kannada and Telugu. In Telugu, Mr. Sumant Akkineni is acting. So in the Kannada version, I'm acting. So I think that will be one film which I'll be looking forward because it's a completely experimental film. Uh,
Sir,
So,
yeah.
sir, what was the toughest thing? Is it a screenplay or a story?
Uh, That's I think it's like a toughest question. Uh, I think both are. It's difficult. You can't just say okay. You can't just say okay. Story writing is difficult or screenplay writing is difficult. I think both are difficult. I wouldn't say that. Okay, story writing is easy and screenplay writing is easy, is or easier than story writing, or story writing is easier than screenplay writing, because the story is like the foundation. The stronger the foundation, only then your building will be stronger. Screenplay is what how you decorate the interiors for your house. So both has to be really good. Even the foundation has to be good. Even the interior has to be good for your house to look good. What I want to say.
Sir, and this question for you personally.
Huh?
Sir, this question for you personally. How do you start a film, sir? Before starting a film, what
Just
steps you
give me
will
a
take?
minute. Just give me a
Sure.
minute.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, please. You were asking me about something.
Sir, what was the steps that you take before starting a film?
What is it?
What was the steps you generally take before making a film? Before
Uh,
starting?
to start a film, the idea is very important. Um, the idea which you freeze on is very important. That is the a trigger point where you will decide, okay, this is the film which I want to do. Uh, the initial idea. Then after getting that idea, you start writing the story. Okay, this is the idea. Okay, let me try to write the story. Maybe the start, the middle, and the end. After writing the starting, middle, and the end, then you start writing the screenplay for the entire film. But the basically the idea is where you start off. If the idea is not exciting, for me at least, the idea should be exciting. If the idea is not exciting, I will never start a story.
Okay, sir. So here's our next question. What
Mhm.
is your opinion on film critics?
Film
Film critics.
film critics, yeah,
Yeah.
film critics actually play a small role. See, generally, what I have experienced is it's end of the day, audience what matters a lot. Uh, I have seen critics giving you 2 stars, and even in the same I've seen critics rating the film 4 stars or 5 stars, and film not doing good at box office, because just for one and only reason, because the audience have liked it and audience have rejected the film. I think there is no bigger critic than the audience. Uh, it, the final, like, because the audience are the ones who will give the money and watch the film in the theater. So I think the biggest critic is your audience. So the role of critics, yeah, they play a role. Maybe sometimes uh, they might play a role of a catalyst, wherein if the film is actually good and even the audience might love it, they might, if the rating is good, looking at the ratings, audience might go as well. But end of the day, if the audience don't like it, I think it will never work. Uh, Whatever stars critics give.
So we have another question. Give some clarity on terms pre-release business, share, net and gross.
Okay. Pre-release business is the business which film has done before releasing into theaters. It might be the dubbing rights. Basically, when you dub a film into the regional language films which are dubbed into Hindi, you might get money from the dubbing rights. You might get money from the OTT platforms or the satellite channels or any other rights. Maybe the remake rights, airborne rights. All these rights are involved. So that is the pre-release business which a film does. like a big film. The small film doesn't do those kind of business. Big films definitely do that kind of film, because when the big films are announced and they're ready for release, the pre-release business is done, because the satellite rights would have been sold, the OTT rights would have been sold, the dubbing rights would have been sold. So this is the pre-release business, and once the film comes into the theaters, um, share is the amount which has been got by the producer. Again, I think you know the gross and net. Gross is the entire amount collected from the theaters. Net is the amount what you have collected after the deductions from the theaters for the theater rentals, for maybe for multiplexer for the PVR or the INOX. The multiplex Stein would have deducted their share amount, because generally when you release into theaters, that there are dual terms. The first term is either you put into a theater on rental basis or sharing basis. The rental basis works in a very simple way. When you pay rent to a theater for your film to run, and he will deduct the rent and give back money what has been collected in his theater. The sharing basis runs is generally what happens in all the multiplexes, wherein it's 50%, 50-50. It runs on the 50-50% sharing, wherein they give you 50% of how many people have come or how many tickets have been sold. If there are 300 tickets sold, they will take the share amount of 150 tickets and give you the share amount of 150. So these are the basic small terms which are actually meant in the cinema business.
So, going ahead. So, what would be your first reaction if you get to know that you'll be working with Sir Christopher Nolan?
Yeah, of course. Um, reaction will be like this only, confused reaction. Shocking reaction. Okay, fine, thank you very much. Maybe I will be excited. Maybe my excitement will not be shown on my face, because most of the times my excitement is not shown on my face. I'll be excited from inside. Of course, a lot of excitement will be there when I'm working on a new project, or when I get an opportunity to meet my favorite stars. Of course, Christopher Nolan. I think a lot of filmmakers love him for his filmmaking style. Of course, there'll be a lot of excitement, definitely.
So have you had any memorable audition experiences, memorable or awkward, anything like that?
And that maybe yeah, I have a lot of memorable experiences, like audition experiences. Because audition, yeah, before it there were no auditions. Before you used to go and give photographs, just give photographs and okay, see sir, please give me an opportunity to in your film. So that's how you should approach the directors, and the director would see, okay, photograph, he's doing okay, here's the photograph, okay, fine. What else you want to do? Okay, okay, what do you do? Okay, then what? Okay, which film you acted? So this is the first film. Okay, do in some other film and then approach me. Sir, well, if you give me the opportunity only, I can do, no, sir.
Okay, sir. So, next question. Why are Indian
Sorry,
films
sorry.
still not able to win Oscar? Is it because of
Mm-hmm,
biased
mm-hmm.
jury? Oh, okay, sir.
Sorry, I think I lost all the chats. Okay, sorry, I was talking about something. Okay, that's how the auditions used to take place before. They used to go and get the photograph. Now, at least nowadays, I do auditions in different cities. I conduct auditions in different cities, because I want people from rural areas also to get an opportunity. The local, I want to support the local theater groups, just not from just not from Bangalore or Mysore, from the towns. I want to give opportunity to a lot of actors who are uh, who might have hidden talent, who might be recognized only in their local groups. So I do auditions in various cities across Karnataka when I start a film. So since I know the struggle of being an actor, so I do auditions in a lot of cities when I start my film.
Okay, sir. So I think that was the final question. Guys, if you have anything to ask, any kind of doubts, queries, please feel free to interact.
Yeah, please feel free because I think it's a good interactive session because when there is more interaction, I think everyone will open up and don't treat me as a director or the actor. I think you can just take me as a friend. I think there'll be a lot of things for me also to learn from you also and what kind of films you guys like. I think there are a lot of good Malayalam films which are actually coming up nowadays, and we do watch a lot of Malayalam films nowadays. I think the whole world is watching a lot of Malayalam films because of its content. Uh,
Well, actually, we are based in Kottayam, which is in Kerala, but we are a national college, so we have students from everywhere.
anyway, okay, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, so we have a lot of Telugu students, North Indian students.
I think that's a mixture of all cultures because
Yeah.
you get to watch different genre films. You get to watch Telugu films also, get to watch Kannada films also, get to watch Hindi films also. So, what are your favorite films? Just to understand what kind of films you guys watch. And I really want to know what are your favorite Kannada films?
Mm. The Kannada, I have not watched any films. I watch Malayalam and English. And in Malayalam, mostly the classics. I think everyone is a big Mohanlal fan, so the classics are always there. So like Mani Chittataram, then other movies like that. Mohanlal's four classic movies. Then in English, The Matrix is a good one. And there are some nostalgic ones as well as some that you appreciate for the actual story and filmmaking. Yeah.
What about others? I think there are a lot of silent people in the group.
Sir, I watched very less films in Kannada. Recently, I watched Bell Bottom, in which my opinion is the narration is slow, but story is very strong.
Okay, okay. What about other language films? Like, what are the kind of films you guys like? Maybe it might be in Malayalam also, Tamil also, English. Someone has messaged me KGF. I watched. Okay, Nathan Ganesh has messaged that I watched Japanese films, Tamil ones, in the English ones. KGF since it has Kannada filmmakers. Okay, then message me also a film which you like most but uh, failed at box office, or maybe there's a lot of films like that. Yeah, we might like a lot of films. Dia is one film because it didn't make good business at box office. We all loved the film. I actually saw the film in the theater, but it didn't do really well in the box office. But it performed really well in on the OTT platform. So like that, there are a lot of films. So cinema business is entirely a different kind of business. We don't know when the audience will watch a film and when the audience will not watch a film in theaters. Of course, in OTT platforms, people will watch because you might have an account, your friend might have an account, you can borrow the account, you watch the film free of cost, or you can download. Most of the people will download it on Telegram also. I do know that. I watch the film, so it's completely a different ballgame when it comes on to digital. But when it is on theaters, it's all about paying for the ticket, going, giving so much of time for you to watch in the theater. You need to spend around 3 to 4 hours to travel from your house to the theater, along with your friends, watch the film and come back. So at least you need to give 3 to 4 hours to watch the film. So you never know which film will work in the box office or which film will not work in the box office.
Actually, sir, we had a question. Why are Indian films still not able to win Oscar? Is it because of biased jury or we aren't able to make something remarkable?
I seriously don't know about that. Because maybe uh, I don't have an answer for that because we do have very good films. Maybe we should start one. uh, I really don't know what is the reason because um, there are great films which have come, which Indian filmmakers have already made. Um, I don't have an answer for that question. Why an Indian film has not won an Oscar?
Okay. Participants, any more questions?
Sir, how do you build characters in your films, sir?
Bahubali.
How
Sorry,
do you
I watch each where each character has strong importance like Bahubali and storyline also matters. Okay. Or what was the question about it?
how do you improve the characters in your films, sir? How do you
Characters,
build it?
yeah. For that, the easiest way is to read a lot of books because what is the importance of the character? Okay, you write character A. Sorry, good name. Hemant. Can I call you by name Hemant?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So if I have Hemant as a character in my film, so what are the likes of Hemant and what are the interests of Hemant is what I have to write first. Okay. What are the conflicts Hemant has and what are the powers Hemant has? Okay. How Hemant is. So these are the characterization which I have to write when I start a story. If Hemant is a protagonist or the antagonist of the film or any other character of the film. Say if Hemant is the protagonist of my film. So okay, what does Hemant like and what Hemant doesn't like? Okay, does he wear a t-shirt? Does he wear a formal shirt? Does he wear a formal pant? Okay, what does he look like? Is he 6 foot or 5 foot or is he built or or he eats a lot of junk food? He eats a lot of healthy food. Does he go to gym or not? So these are the characterization I have to start writing as a writer. Only then I'll be able to figure out what are the problems and how we can overcome. What are the strengths and weaknesses Hemant has, and according to his weakness, I will build the antagonist strength. So if Hemant has a weakness of some weakness, maybe he might not be able to uh, see the sun, for example, a small example. If I'm writing a fantasy story, so or he might not be able to see light, or he might have color blindness, or he might have night blindness, some weakness in his character. So based on that weakness, I'll build the story and I will make the antagonist more stronger than human. So that's how you start building a character when you write a story. Based on the character's strengths and weaknesses, you write the story. I think that you have very strong characters. A lot of films I've seen, especially films like Nayagan or Pink. They have very strong characters. Of course, in Bahubali, Ramya Krishna, Madam's characters was very intense, strong. Even Anushka Shetty Madam's character in Bahubali 2. I still remember the scene where in Bahubali 2 when she is about to step into the boat, she climbs on Prabhas' shoulders and gets into the boat. That was a very strong character element which I think Rajneeshwar has written because of that one shot. Uh, you will portray how the lady is or how much love Prabhas might love, Bahubali might love the
Devasena.
Devasena, and how Devasena is actually because of that one particular scene. It describes the entire characteristics. So that is how you write a character, and maybe in one scene you should be able to tell what this character is about and how it might play an important role. Okay, I
Like
think
plan.
Are
I
you
hope.
going to plan Indian superhero film? If yes, how would you like to show the origin story of the hero? Yeah, I think uh, I would love to make Indian superhero film. Have a lot of ideas as of now. It's still in the writing stage. Definitely, because I grew up reading a lot of comic books. So there was a small library. My father used to have a bakery. So after my father passed away, I used to sit in that bakery and maybe the whole day, for the entire day. After if there is no school, I used to go to that bakery and sit along with my mother. So or else after coming back from the school, I should go to the bakery and sit. Only after maybe after 10:30, we used to go back home together. Or else if there was no school, I used to go early in the morning at 7 o'clock and used to stay in the bakery till late night 10:30. And there was a small library next to my shop where I used to go and get comic books, a lot of comic books, and read comic books. I was very. I used to love the style of how the superheroes characters are, how they do their action, how they power they have, how they use their power, and all those things. So it is subconsciously somehow it is there in my mind. Of course, at that point of time, we had a lot of DC comics. Then the Marvel comics started. Nowadays, yeah, Marvel has taken over DC. I do understand. I think there are a lot of Marvel fans now. Even I am a fan of Marvel because I still have. I don't have it here. I have a diary of Hulk where the Hulk print is there on my diary, and I have a diary where I have Mogambo's characters on the diary. I have a soft eye of an Iron Man. I had a slipper where Iron Man prints were there. So I'm a very big Marvel fan, and I'm a very big superhero fan. So definitely, I would love to create, but I don't know when. It again depends on the budget, the uh, canvas which we are making. So I think it will take some time, but definitely I have the intention of doing it.
Anyone else want to interact with Sir?
Yeah, if you guys want to interact,
Something.
who all wants to become a filmmaker here in this group, or director or actor? Yeah, anything is fine. At least you can message me. I don't want if you're very shy of coming on video. You can just leave a message. Who all wants to become a filmmaker? No one is it?
Sir, sir,
Who all wants to become a filmmaker in this group? Is what I was asking.
So I was actually writing a story, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
know whether it is good or not. I
Mm-hmm.
stopped it because of exams, and I am thinking to start it again.
Mm-hmm. It's the best way to learn whether your story is good or not is to maybe narrate it to your friends.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think your friends will tell whether it's good or not. Maybe they will give your input. I think they are your first critics. I used to narrate lot of stories to my friends. Every day I used to narrate a story to most of my friends. So they used to give me a lot of inputs whether this is good, this is not, this is exciting or not. So that's how I used to get the energy by narrating story to a lot of people. Today also I do. Where after completing my story, I narrate it to a lot of people so that to understand whether I'm going in the right direction or not. I narrate my story to more than 100 people every time before starting my film. Uh, I think that's the only way for you to understand the story better, and that's the only way to get good inputs from everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I want to become a lead actor and I am writing stories for myself, sir. And I'm
Very
working on
good.
the stories. Sir.
I think you are going in the right direction.
Thank you, sir.
Guys, anybody else would like to interact with sir?
Rohit says, actually, I made a short film. I think initially everyone can start. Yeah, if someone wants to become a filmmaker, I think the best way to start uh, learning filmmaking is to shoot a film. Whether it's good or bad, don't worry about it. Shoot a film first. You will learn the process when you shoot a film. You learn your mistakes on your own. That's how I learned. Shoot a film. I actually reshot my short film maybe thrice because I was I was learning about how to make a film first in the beginning. So I reshot my short film twice, and that's how it got selected into a film festival. That's the best way of learning how to make a film. Maybe nowadays we all have phones or iPhones or whatever it is. So start shooting small shots, small scenes, maybe like 30 seconds, 60 seconds, edit it with music. I think most of them have editing tools because we use it in Reels, we used to use it in TikTok or uh, for all other purposes. So I think you should just start shooting a film. Maybe make a 30-second film. Maybe you encourage it to a 60-second film. Maybe a 3-minute film, 4-minute film, 5-minute film. Make a 15-minute film. Then make a half-an-hour film. Then you will gradually improve the way of storytelling. How you will improve your skills in how to tell a story. So by reading books and executing what you have thought in mind is the best way of learning filmmaking. I think no one can teach you better than that. Uh, Theoretically, whatever you learn from anyone, uh, it actually it impacts very uh, less. Practically, what you do is what matters. Practically, what you do is only then you'll learn a lot about filmmaking, and only then you'll learn on how to make film and how to improve your skills is by shooting a film. Okay,
Sir,
I
have
want to
any of
interact with
your
you.
characters been inspired by people you know in real life? Have they influenced your
I
characters?
think Hemant has messaged, sir. I want to interact with you more, sir. I have a lot of doubts in filmmaking story that so simple it all cannot ask. Okay, already have 5 to 6 questions. Is there any? Yeah, of course, you can actually contact Nisha. I think she will guide you how to reach out to me.
Sir, how to contact, sir?
Pardon me?
How to contact, sir?
Yeah, you can contact Nisha. I think she's on this group. I think you should take. I think possibly. I think Nisha, are you there online?
Hi everyone. My number is with Arundhati.
Yeah, maybe you can take a
If
contact number
there's
from Arundhati.
anything, you can drop a message. I'll reply you back.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Yeah.
you.
In case you want to interact with me, if anyone wants to interact with me further, like about writing a story, I think maybe you guys might have a lot of ideas of writing a story. If you want any guidance or if you want to interact, you can contact Nisha. Her number is with Arundhati, so you guys can drop your queries with Nisha so that I'll be able to guide or have an interaction. Maybe you might have a very good idea where I can make a film, uh, and it's again it depends on the interaction, and it's all about reaching out. I always believe in one thing. First, if you have an idea, just reach out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't work out. but never hold yourself by not reaching out to people. You should always try. If it works, good. If it doesn't work, we'll try it again. But never be afraid of failures is what I want to say. It doesn't matter in film industry or in any other occupation, in any other field. Always there'll be a satisfaction. Okay, I tried. Okay, it worked. If it doesn't work, also okay. Next time we'll try it. So don't take life too seriously. Stay calm. Stay in the present. So there is a book called Power of Now, which was actually made into a film by Mr. Upendra called Uppi 2. So the concept of the film was staying in the present, not thinking too much about the past or the future, but to stay in the present. So mm, there are philosophical thoughts which are made into commercial films also.
So we have a query. As you said, it's the best way to start with short films. Will this be helpful when you're trying to recreate movie scenes? Many YouTubers trying to reshoot famous scenes of
Yeah,
some
yeah,
famous
yeah,
films.
yeah. I think the best way is to go and start. Go out and start. Never be afraid of failures because most of them will think, okay, I will start a shot, I will shoot a film. What if people will not like, or what if my friends will not like? Okay, don't be afraid of that. Go ahead and shoot it. Only then you will be able to learn what mistakes you have done. If you're not done it properly for the first time, maybe you'll do it for the second time or the third time or the fourth time. But somewhere in the down the lane, you will learn. So my sincere advice is go ahead and shoot it. And I think the best teacher you have uh, across the world is Google and YouTube. I think you will get all the details of how to make a film in Google, YouTube. I don't think on Teachers Day actually I put a post that thanks Google and YouTube for teaching me a lot of things. That's how I think they are my first gurus. I think nowadays you have everything online to learn. But sincere advice from if you want a practical advice from me is if you want to learn about filmmaking, if you want to improve your skills in writing a story or shooting film, one is read a lot of books so that um, your skills in while writing screenplay will improve. The second thing is go shoot a film so that you'll gain practical knowledge of how to make a better film.
Sir,
So your personal favorite movie and why?
Personal favorite film is a film by name Mustinahara. It's a Kannada film. It was a film. It's a film based on war. So it's on YouTube. You can watch it. It's a national award film. So maybe I have watched it more than 150 times. I don't know. I have never counted the number after I crossed 150. So that's my personal favorite film. It's called Mustinahara.
Also, so
It's
we
about
have
Indo-China war. A love story which takes place and everything is there. You can go and watch it on it.
sir, a few suggestions to improve acting skills.
Uh, to improve acting skills, yeah, of course. See, acting generally works on your uh, facial expressions, the expressions of each and every uh, maybe a part of your body, and of course, your voice modulation. It's actually better. Generally, what everyone suggests is to join a theater group so that uh, in theater they will make you learn how to deliver the dialogues in different tones, maybe the same sentence in different ways, and they might give you big dialogue sheets. They will teach you a lot of other things also, how to use body language when you're on stage, when you're reaching out to large crowd, and how to use less body language when you're reaching out to less number of crowd. They will teach you a lot of things in theater. So the best way is to join a theater group to improve your acting skills.
Sir,
Mhm.
sir, can I be in one of your story sittings for once, sir, to know how the culture there will be to develop the story, or how much my suggestions will be valid in story writing?
So definitely, see, sometimes your suggestions might be taken, sometimes your suggestions might not be taken also. Um, Sometimes my suggestions also will be taken and sometimes it will not be taken because end of the day, it's for the product which we are working for. It's for the for improving the product. Why we yeah. So sometimes the suggestions will be taken and sometimes the suggestions will not be taken. Ultimately, the product is important, and that's the reason uh, we work in groups. But ultimately, uh, we do listen to everyone. But end of the day, we only choose a few valid suggestions which might help, which we think which might help for the story.
So can I be in one of your story sittings, sir,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
once?
definitely. You can join in one of our story discussion team.
By contacting Nisha ma'am, sir?
Yeah, yeah, you can contact Nisha and you can join in one of the sittings just to understand how we discuss and how we work on story.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other things you want to ask or uh, keep it very casual? So anything you want to ask, please ask me about films or filmmaking, or if you want to personally ask about writing.
Sir, I had asked a query about whether your characters are influenced by people you know in real life.
Mhm. It might be influenced, or it might not be influenced. But again, it depends on the story, what kind of style story I'm writing. If it's a realistic story which I'm writing, definitely it will be influenced by uh, people whom I meet or people who I know, or people who I see on television, maybe the realistic characters. I basically write the characteristics based on the people I meet or whom I see. But when you write a fantasy story, the characteristics change. Then you have to use your imagination skills to draw, and there is no limit. Because it's a fantasy story and your characteristics can have superpowers. It might not have superpowers. It again depends on the genre of the film. When you're making a very realistic film, like when it has to be very realistic, so even the characteristics should, when people watch the characters, they should also feel connected to the characters. So you need to keep more realistic characterization for the character.
Have your friends or family ever seen a character in any of your movies and be like, hey, that looks like me, that sounds like me?
Yeah, definitely. Because generally, when I wrote Srinivasa Kalyana, um, there was a title card which I had kept in the beginning of the film. It said, "ಈ ಚಿತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿಯಾಗಿರುವ ನನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಳೆ ಗರ್ಲ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳ." It means special thanks to all my ex-girlfriends who have inspired for this film. So maybe yeah, definitely it does. I have seen a lot of characters and people who have got connected with the film also.
Yes. There's a question in the chat. So tell us about Sudeep sir.
Sudeep sir, I think he was one person who gave me an opportunity to act. He was the first person, like the first director to give me an opportunity to act in his film. So my first acting debut was made in his film by name Just Mark Martali. So I was in radio at that point of time. So I'd gone to give him an invitation card for our upcoming event or some event we had in radio. So I had gone to give him an invitation. So he saw me and he told, "Do you want to act?" I told, "Of course, yes." I was like, "Okay, I was waiting for this." Okay, yes, of course, yes, I want to act. Well, have you acted in a film? Any other film? No, I haven't acted in anyone. Do you have any photographs of? Yeah, I do have some photographs. So I told I'll get back. I'll get back to him with photographs the next day. So I went back with photographs the next day and I gave him. So he saw, okay, there is a very important character. I love your energy, so act in myself. I told, okay, fine. That's how I think I got an opportunity to act in one of his films. And he's a great director. We all know he's a fantastic actor. And I am a very big fan of his acting. And he's also a fantastic director too. So we used to watch his acting and direction from college days. And working with him was a fantastic experience. Few months back, he actually released my song of my previous film, Old Monk. So when I met him, he told it's been a long journey. So I made it big already. From where you started as an actor, I was doing small characters to become a director, to become a hero. Um, I think you have done a fantastic job. So we had a lot of discussion about filmmaking and kind of films which we're doing. So I think it's been a great journey.
So, another question: one quality you like most in Appu sir?
um, a lot of them, there are a lot of coincidence between, and we have a very good relationship. Me and Puneet sir, we share a long journey because uh, I used to dance behind him in lot of stage shows when I was in college. That's how my journey with Puneet Rajkumar started. I don't know how many stage shows I've danced with him. So I used to be a background dancer in the stage shows where he used to perform. After that, when I was in radio, I was doing a primetime show called Blade Raja. So one day, one of my team member went to his house, and there was a casual interview with Puneet sir. So they asked him, which is your favorite show? He told Blade Raja. So I was in like cloud nine. Okay, Puneet Rajkumar likes the show. So one day he came to the radio station, and I told him that I was the guy who was doing that show. So he told, and I'm a big fan of you because I've been dancing behind you since I don't know, like on 4 5 years. He told, "You're not a fan. I am a big fan of you," and that's how we started interacting. Then the journey started. We started interacting about filmmaking, and a lot of other things. And Old Monk film's trailer was actually launched by him, was released by him, and he used to support a lot of youngsters, and that's the reason he opened his new production house, PRK. So, which has actually given a lot of opportunity to youngsters. Coincidentally, the office space which I'm using right now actually belonged to Mr. Puneet Rajkumar sir. And after he shifted to a new office, we got to into this office. We didn't knew that it was used by him. So I used to actually tell him we are using your old office. We used to have, and the entire film, my Old Monk film's editing was in his office space because they have an editing suite in PRK Studios. So that's where the Old Monk film's editing was going on, and I used to meet him maybe like twice a week or twice a week sometimes, and we used to have long conversation about films and films, kind of stories which we have to make, and so share a very good rapport, and definitely I miss him a lot because the kind of encouragement he used to give for youngsters, I think it's been missed by a lot of actors and directors today.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, so how will you give opportunity for story discussions with young ideas?
Yeah, before I started Old Monk, we did a campaign, we did a competition called Write Karnataka, wherein we invited a lot of writers across Karnataka. Unfortunately, we didn't get a good story. Maybe we had got around 300 stories, but none of them were good enough to be made into a film. So we will be constantly looking for stories and writers. Currently, also, I'm actually looking for good writers and good storytellers. Again, it depends. It comes by experience and it comes by different thoughts, new ideas. So if anyone is interested, that they can get in touch. They can sorry, they can get in touch with Nisha and they can send their writings so that I can guide them or I can tell them, okay, this is what I'm looking at. This is what you have to do to improve your skills. So we keep doing that. If anyone is interested in writing, definitely they can join my team.
Okay, sir. I think we can wrap up now. Our next event is about to start. So thank you so much, sir. Arundhati, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, surely. Thank you. So first of all, thank you so much, sir, for patiently and answering to all our queries, clearing all our doubts, and interacting in such a great way to all of us. Thanks a lot. It was totally a great experience that we had um, interacting with you. You talked about your experiences, the challenges you had to face while getting into this field, and how important it is to follow one's own passions, and how important it is to prioritize our dreams, and also with great insights on filmmaking, on acting, on marketing, and so many other fields. It was in fact a very vast discussion we had uh, with me with which was very informative and interesting to all of us. So thanks a lot, sir, for coming here, for taking time for us, and giving such a wonderful session. Uh,
Pleasure is mine. Thank you so much for giving the opportunity to interact with you guys, and hope you meet you again and again and watch my films without fail. Old Monk is coming on Amazon Prime, and you can watch Birbal also. It's on Amazon Prime if you haven't watched. And once again, thank you so much for this opportunity. Hope we again have a good interactive section like this. Thank you very much.
Sir, I would just like to add that we have a few students who are in campus right now. So we had them set up a projector and they were all watching it together. That's why the number is a little less in the meet right now, but we have a good number who are watching in campus. Yeah.
No problem.
And to those who have any more
Anyone,
queries to
yeah,
ask,
any queries or who wants to get in touch with me, they can contact me through Arundhati.
so you can contact Arundhati Karta of batch 2020 and she will direct you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Also, thank you so much, participants, for such a great interaction that you all have made. It was such an interesting session. Hope all your dreams come true, and keep in touch, keep following your passion, and keep up the spirit. Thanks a lot.